Welcome to the inaugural Arts Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Thank you for joining us to celebrate three men whose dedication to La Salle College High School has and continues to be invaluable. La Salle established the Arts Hall of Fame to recognize the accomplishments of alumni and our extraordinarily dedicated faculty, mentors in music, the visual and performing arts, and speech and debate. The 2020 inductees are Brother Kevin Dalmasse, FSC, Brother Gene Graham, FSC, and Joseph Ciccimaro, class of 1957. As we begin everything at La Salle, please welcome Brother Raymond Murphy, FSC, for our invocation.
Let us remember that we're in the holy presence of God. O God, creator and source of all that is good and beautiful, we recall your daily blessings and gifts you have given each of us. Today we celebrate the achievements of our inductees, whose works reflect the infinite vision of beauty and truth revealed in nature and the human spirit. May their accomplishments open us to a deeper enjoyment and love for your creation. Bless these men, their families, and our entire La Salle community. May their talents and achievements inspire us to appreciate and enjoy the beauty that draws us closer to you and to one another. In Jesus' name we pray with gratitude and joy. Amen. St. John Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever.
Thank you, Brother Raymond. Please welcome the President of La Salle College High School, Brother James Butler, FSC, to say a few words.
Since the Hall of Athletics was inaugurated some years ago in La Salle, it has been a vision of mine to complement it with a Hall of Fame recognizing the incredible impact the arts have on La Salle. Today, this dream becomes a reality as we induct the first class into the Arts Hall of Fame here at La Salle College High School. And the first group of inductees truly sets the standard for future classes to live up to. The legendary impresario, Brother Gene Graham, revived the theater program at La Salle after several years' dormancy, and soon had it rivaling professional companies for performances of quality. Mr. Joseph Ciccimaro, class of 1957, is both the Dean of the Faculty and the heart and soul of our music programs. Over more than a half century, he has inspired hundreds, perhaps even thousands of musicians with a vision of excellence, both those for whom music was to become a vocation, as well as those who kept it as an avocation throughout their lives. Lastly, Brother Kevin Dalmasse began coaching speech and debate for his own mentor, Brother Rene, when he was still a teenager at La Salle College. During most of the next 3 decades, he remained involved with the La Salle Forum, eventually seeing his own protégés, Ray Shea and Mike McCabe, take over leadership of the program in turn. All 3 of these men have done far more than develop talent and enhance skills. In each case, their activity was the medium for creating the lifelong relationships between teachers and students and among students that are at the heart of a LaSallian education and the La Salle experience. For these reasons and many more, we honor, thank, and congratulate Joe Ciccimaro and brothers Gene and Kevin for all they have done for and meant for generations of our students by inducting them into the Arts Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Brother James. Now, on to our induction. We asked some of the people who know our inductees best to introduce them. The first inductee into the 2020 Arts Hall of Fame is Brother Kevin Dalmasse, FSC, for his contributions to the speech and debate program. Brother Kevin has impacted countless students and parents in the La Salle community. Here to say a few words about Brother Kevin is the current speech and debate coach at La Salle, Michael McCabe, class of 2008.
Brother Kevin Dalmasse has served many roles here at La Salle College High School: coach, teacher, and administrator. But regardless of what hat he was currently wearing, Brother Kevin has been a firm supporter of the speech and debate team here at La Salle, known affectionately as the Forum. When Brother Kevin was a college student at La Salle University, he became an assistant coach under then head coach Brother Rene Sterner, who coached Kevin at Pittsburgh Central Catholic. Despite being a college student, Kevin saw an immediate success coaching speech and debate here at La Salle. In the 1977-78 school year, the team had 18 members. But by the time Brother Kevin had graduated college, the team expanded dramatically. During that time, Kevin helped coach a national champion at the National Catholic Forensics League in Lincoln Douglas debate and a national champion in policy debate at the National Forensics League. Additionally, he coached several main stage finalists in both debate events. While still in college, Brother Rene Sterner left La Salle, and Kevin saw himself as the head coach of the speech and debate team here at La Salle. And he continued his legacy of success. After joining the Christian Brothers, Brother Kevin found himself back at La Salle as the Vice Principal of Academic Affairs, once again supporting the Forum in his new role as an administrator. After serving as Vice Principal, Kevin took the job as Director of Regional Education for the District of Eastern North America. And in 2005, when Mr. Raymond Shea, class of 2000, became the head coach after Brother Rene once again left La Salle, Kevin commuted back from DC weekly to attend practice, helping to ensure a smooth tradition and that the legacy of success of the La Salle Forum would carry on. During his time then as an assistant coach, Kevin coached the 2010 National Catholic Forensics League champion in policy debate and the 7th place 2010 National Forensics League in policy debate. Kevin helped set the stage for continued success after once again he left to return to his alma mater, Pittsburgh Central Catholic. In 2014, the policy debate team placed 3rd in the nation, and in 2015, 5th at the National Forensics League. All of this speaks to the legacy Kevin has left for the Forum at La Salle. For 3 decades, Kevin, coaching and teaching here at La Salle, has demanded, in a fair, approachable, and respectful way, success, always seeing more in his students than they saw in himself. As my former coach, a mentor, and a friend, it is my honor to introduce our first speech and debate inductee to the Arts Hall of Fame at La Salle College High School, Brother Kevin Dalmasse.
Hello, and good day, everyone. As I begin my brief remarks this day, please allow me a few words of deeply felt gratitude. I begin with my thanks to Brother James Butler and his amazing members of his administrative team at La Salle College High School. It was they who established this Hall of Fame, and I now mind you that this is very much in keeping with the spirit of the Catholic Church and her popes, because La Salle High School has long supported the arts with considerable academic and financial patronage. But these same fine arts will now more clearly, I believe, assume their rightful place among the sacred endeavors to be valued and promoted by the Christian school. I'm truly grateful to be included in this awesome event. Next, a word or two about my fellow inductees, Brother Gene Graham and Mr. Joseph Ciccimaro. St. Francis of Assisi once said, "He who works with his hand is a laborer. He who works with his hands and his head is a craftsman. He who works with his hands, with his head, and with his heart is an artist." I can assure you that both of these men were and are artists. His painstaking attention to every single detail of a show's magnificent production came from Brother Gene's gigantic heart. Likewise, it is from his wonderful heart that Joe Ciccimaro, or Mr. C as is known, his maestro-like abilities emerged and for decades transformed uncertain dabblers into accomplished musicians. I am humbled to be inducted with these great artists. And finally, some thoughts about the Forum, La Salle's storied speech and debate program. It was founded by Brother Rene Sterner, the legendary director of 4 different forensic programs over the course of his amazing 50-year-long career. In the spring of 1977, Brother Rene was nearing the end of his tour of duty at Central Catholic in Pittsburgh. As it happens, I was a senior at Central Catholic and was set to attend La Salle College in the fall. And now we come to perhaps the greatest turning point in my life. Unbeknownst to me, the great Brother Andrew Bartley invited Brother Rene to come to La Salle College High School and to work his magic and establish a forensics program. In turn, Brother Rene then asked me to assist in this daunting endeavor. He would be director of forensics and coach of speech events, and I would be his assistant director and coach of debate. The rest, as they would say, is history. To be sure, our initial recruitment efforts led to the creation of quite a motley crew, but there was something special about these boys. By dint of the combination of their impressive intellects with their passion for the activity, they achieved great things in just 3 short years, including a national championship in debate. And that was just the beginning. Months turned into years, years turned into decades, and all the while, a commitment to the excellence of, in rhetoric, and an unwavering devotion to competitive integrity and academic honesty became the hallmarks of the La Salle Forum experience. But beyond even these praiseworthy traits has been the brotherhood that was created and continues to thrive among the men of the La Salle Forum. On a personal note, I consider it the greatest privilege of my life to have been a small part of the lives of these men. For I know that it was through these great experiences that God drew me to the life of a Christian brother, where I have discovered much happiness and much joy. And so La Salle College High School, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for this wonderful honor and for this wonderful experience. God bless you all.
Our next inductee is the late Brother Gene Graham, FSC, for his contributions to the theater and musical community. Here to say a few words about Brother Gene and accept the award posthumously is friend and collaborator Colleen Durkin-Lepowski.
I'm Colleen Durkin-Lepowski, and I'm thrilled to share some memories of Brother Eugene Graham. Brother Gene arrived at La Salle College High School in the mid-60s, and he came with a vision. He wanted to change that little auditorium into a theater. Brother Gene was a terrific director, but he was an outstanding producer. Now, some high school directors can sing and dance, but Brother Gene couldn't sing or dance. He knew he needed a team next to him. So he found the most glorious, crazy, kooky female choreographer in the city, Jean Williams. And he was turned on to a young musical genius, Joe Ciccimaro, who just happened to go to La Salle himself, and we just honored him as one of our icons. Now, Brother Gene also needed to find a way to build the team in the school. He had a lot of savvy when it came to boys and their education, and he went to all the captains of the teams and asked them if they would head up a department that was necessary, public relations, advertising, ticket sales. Then they brought in more boys, and it became a real tight crew. Speaking of stage crew, there was nothing like the stage crew that Brother built. They learned from Jerry Leahy about how to put a set together. They built, they painted, and then they ran the entire show backstage. Not one adult was allowed backstage during one of Brother Gene's shows. Now let's talk about the shows. Brother Gene needed to bring the kids in. So the hottest blockbuster, different in the 50s, was an homage to Elvis Presley, Bye Bye Birdie, the perfect kids show to start off a new season. Next, he came in with Damn Yankees, about baseball players, then South Pacific, Boys in the Navy. By now, the shows had grown. The kids came to them, their parents came to them, the neighborhoods. It was date night. In those days, you might have called it a happening. Brother Gene had the vision. Jean Williams knocked it out of the ballpark with her big, beautiful dance numbers. Brother Gene had a lot of connections in New York City, and so this time he decided to go big. The biggest blockbuster of the 60s was Hello, Dolly. Through connections, he got the rights and the sets in from Broadway. Well, you don't do Hello, Dolly in high school unless you have a Dolly, and he had her in Kathy McCauley, a little 17-year-old girl with a mouthful of braces, but a voice big enough to go down Cheltenham Avenue. She had just done Nellie Forbush, and he knew he could rely on Kate. So I reached out to Kate McCauley Hathaway and asked her to give, just to reminisce on her time in Dolly, working with Brother Gene and Bob Bolsover and Joe. When I was 17, I was fortunate enough to perform the role of Dolly Levi in La Salle's production of Hello, Dolly. Our costumes had been worn in the recently closed Broadway production by some very famous actresses, Carol Channing, Ethel Merman, and my favorite, Ginger Rogers. Brother Gene always held his cast to the highest standards in our performances. He encouraged me to be the best Dolly that I could, and I was rewarded by seeing his big smile at the curtain call of each performance. Now, along with Kathy McCauley was Ron Korowski, who was also the male lead in Hello, Dolly. He spent his life in the profession, and Ron had a few things to say. I was cast my sophomore year in Damn Yankees. Thus began my career that lasted 25 years. My senior year, I played Cornelius in Hello, Dolly, and 1 year later got my equity card and became a professional actor. Brother Gene guided me throughout my career and saw my performances, especially when I was in a chorus line for 14 years. I made it to Broadway, but never forgot my roots with Brother Gene. He touched my life in a most profound way. So you can see that it wasn't just me that was affected by Brother Gene. Countless, hundreds, maybe it turned into thousands when you think of all the kids all over the country at the various schools where he directed. Well, the shows went on. But by 1979, Brother Gene got a call from the brothers down at La Salle College. They wanted him to step down there, step into running that department and running the summer stock company, La Salle Music Theater. It was a challenge for Brother Gene. He had done big, beautiful musicals, but now it was time for a change. And he had laid this wonderful path down for future directors like me. Well, I had maintained quite a lovely friendship with Brother Gene throughout the years, and I would visit with him every year or so. One year he called and said that there was an opportunity for me to direct at Little Flower High School. I was not prepared, but he said, look, just bring your bag of tricks. That was his way of saying, you know what you're doing, you can do this. And surprisingly, I did, and it became a new career for me. So much so that by 1985, I came back to La Salle College High School. Joe Ciccimaro called me in to direct Two Gentlemen of Verona, and thus began a close to 25-year career for me. Really, my son went to La Salle, and when he graduated, I left. But my friendship with Brother never ended. We continued to be in contact with each other. One time when I went down for a Christmas lunch, he asked me to pull my car up and put several boxes in the back seat. Off I went. No word of what these boxes were. When I opened them at home, they were all plays, librettos of shows that Brother Gene had produced. Well, when I called him to say, my God, this is such a wonderful gift, what's going on? He explained that he was going on a trip and he needed to clean out. And he said, after all, you're the director now. Well, Brother Gene never came back from the trip. We lost him. I was asked to sing at this funeral, and of course I was particularly honored. But nothing has been a greater honor to me than to accept Brother Gene's award for him as one of the first inductees to La Salle College High School's Arts Hall of Fame. We love you, Brother Gene. We respect you, Brother Gene, and you have changed countless lives. So today, for everybody watching this, for you, I'd like to say, congratulations, pal.
Our final inductee is Joseph Ciccimaro, class of 1957, a faculty member at La Salle for 52 years and counting that has impacted generations of explorers. Here to share his thoughts on Joe is former student John Miko, class of 1986.
Born in 1940 in Port Richmond, Joe attended maternity BVM. It was here that the nuns nurtured Joe's passion and love of music. They also encouraged him to attend La Salle. He arrived on campus at 20th and Olney in the summer of 1953, and he loved it immediately. It was early in his freshman year that he was introduced to the clarinet, and not long after, Joe's hard work, talent, and dedication came together to create the great young musician. Joe soon began to think about a career in music, but he did not know really what a career in music could be like until he went to La Salle on a La Salle trip to a Broadway show his freshman year to see A King and I with Yul Brynner. By the end of the first act, Joe knew exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to play in an orchestra on Broadway. And before graduating from La Salle in 1957, Joe was hired to play at the Forest Theater in Philadelphia. What followed for Joe was a career as a musician and musical contractor that is unmatched in Philadelphia area over the last 60 years. He's played with Elvis Presley, Stevie Wonder, and nearly every big act from 1960 to 2000, and for every president from Eisenhower to Obama. Joe has done it all. In his career as a musical contractor, he hired hundreds of musicians for thousands of jobs. And along the way, he became not just a contractor, but a collaborator to musical directors, performers, and composers like Leonard Bernstein. Joe's accomplishments in music industry certainly make him an obvious choice for this honor today. But this is really the secondary reason. For Joe's greatest contribution to the arts lies in the work that he has done here at La Salle. For while Joe was playing and working in music, he was teaching, mentoring, and building the most comprehensive, best music program of any school in the Philadelphia area. Joe, or Mr. C, came to La Salle to help with a spring musical in 1968, and he never left. Over the next 52 years, he created a program that maintains the highest level of musicianship and at the same time is open and available to any student with an interest. Joe's students have gone on to play the greatest stages in the world. But most importantly, he's a teacher and friend to thousands of members of the band, chorus, and the shows. He's done this in a manner and a personality that is unique, but at the same time thoroughly LaSallian. He has made music a part of the academic, social, and athletic life of LaSalle in a way that makes the music part of the rhythm of being here. Upon arriving at LaSalle on the field on the first day of school, freshmen can hear LaSalle before they see LaSalle. And at graduation, they sing the alma mater with the LaSalle band in a final moment together. This happens today because of Mr. C. On behalf of all the guys in the orchestra, band, and chorus, and the entire LaSalle community, it's my great honor and privilege to introduce Joe Ciccimaro as an inaugural member of LaSalle College High School Arts Hall of Fame.
Thank you, John. I'm not so sure I recognize the person you just introduced. Also, special thanks to Brother James for initiating the LaSalle Arts Hall of Fame. Very special, and I feel very lucky to be here today. I grew up in Port Richmond section of Philadelphia in a row house where my father's tailor shop was in the front. I went to Nativity BVM, and in 3rd grade, Sister James Anita started me on piano. And for the next 5 years, it gave me the guidance and the background that would really do me very good to going forward in my chosen career. In 8th grade, the 8th grade nun said to my mother, you know, he should go to either St. Joe's Prep or LaSalle. Imagine how that would have worked out. Luckily, I ended up at LaSalle, and when we were going to registration, my father was driving me, and by the way, that was the first and last time I ever got a ride to school. And he said to me, you know, I'm going to pay the first year's tuition, but you're going to have to be responsible for the next 3 years. Now, tuition at LaSalle was $300 a year. It was a lot of money then, and I had 3 younger siblings, and now looking back, I can see why my father said that. So I graduate from 8th grade. A couple weeks later, I get a letter from LaSalle inviting me to join the band and learn a band instrument. Well, my father was standing next to me when I opened the letter, and he said, what do you think? I said, oh, I'm not so sure about this. I don't know anybody, and I know even less about band instruments. His words to me were, what do you have to lose? So a couple weeks later, I made my way to 20th and Olney, walked in the band room, met Mr. Colantonio, the band director, and he said to me, what would you like to play? Clarinet. And it didn't leave my hands for the next 67 years. That fall, I joined the marching band, and that fall, I played the clarinet in front of 100,000 people. They asked, how did I do that? Well, I was in the marching band of LaSalle. We were chosen to represent either Mississippi or Alabama in their game against Villanova at Municipal Stadium, which did hold 100,000 people. I started at LaSalle. Christmas time, I started to play the saxophone. I remember bugging the band director, please let me in the dance band, and I ended up playing the Valentine's Day dance on baritone saxophone. And of course at LaSalle, I had a lot of good brothers, especially in that first year, and I had Brother Michael teaching typing. Brother Michael obviously realized I love music, and so he said to me at the end of the school year, springtime, he said, how would you like to go and see a Broadway show in New York? He said, there's a bunch of seniors going, and I have an extra ticket. I said, sure, but I had no idea what a Broadway show was like, and I certainly had never been to New York. And I remember sitting in the back row of the St. James Theater and hearing the overture to the original King and I with Yul Brynner. And I have to correct John. He said it was after the first act. No, it was after the overture. And I said, I want to do that. And I didn't know what that was, but I wanted to do it. Well, summer starts between my sophomore year, and I get a job because of Brother Michael's teaching me typing invoices for trucking concerns, which were not too far from our house. Working 40 hours a week, making $1.25 an hour. I had no trouble paying tuition. I actually did that for the rest of the summers of my high school career. I started sophomore year, I played the flute. I actually played my first wedding job in a band. I had to lie about my age to get in the union, and of course it took me 40 years to correct that fib. And so junior year comes, senior year comes, and I had had Brother Jeremy for 2 years in a row. So towards the end of senior year, Brother Jeremy said to me, "Well, where are you going to college, Joe?" Brother, I'm not going to college. In those days, you went to La Salle College if you went to La Salle High School. You didn't have to take a test of any sort. But I did express concern to Brother Albert that it was $800 a year, and I was a little concerned about that. Next thing I know, Brother Albert set me up with one of the deans over at the university, college then, sorry, Daniel Vernon, and he gave me a work-study program. And I ended up in the career office, which always got all the jobs, part-time jobs that were available. And I had my pick. I remember delivering mail during the Christmas rush. I did a lot of inventory for the big factories. I worked at Hires Root Beer. And I was still playing music on the weekend. And I also started to learn both the oboe and the bassoon. As time went on, I'm a senior, surprisingly, because I actually started college thinking I'll take one semester at a time. My junior year, I was offered a job teaching or starting a band at St. Martin Tours. I took the job. We started with a 4-piece band in September and gave a concert with a 60-piece band. Now, I was lucky enough to get those jobs because the young gentleman that sat next to me at La Salle High School and also La Salle College Band, his family owned the biggest music company in Philadelphia, and they were watching me buy all these instruments and study them all. I was also, studying all the instruments. I got the job at Doherty, and Brother Azarias, who was in charge of the education department, said to me, you can student teach there. I said, great, I'll student teach there. He said, don't worry about it. I was probably the only graduate of La Salle that did their student teaching in music, because La Salle didn't have a music program. That year, Christmas time, I get my first call for the theater. I'm going to play at the Erlanger Theater for about 10 days around Christmas time. And that spring, I got a call to play Judy Garland on the stage at the Academy of Music. It was absolutely thrilling. I graduate in June. I start at the Forest Theater. That is a thing that I am still connected with doing all this time. So starting at the Forest Theater, starting teaching. Before I knew it, I was teaching at a lot of different Catholic high schools. Because I knew all the woodwind instruments, it was easy for them to, instead of paying 5 teachers, they paid 1 teacher. I kept playing in the theater, playing with the likes of Barbara Streisand and Tony Bennett, the X, and Lena Horne, Elvis Presley, and I kept playing at teaching at more schools. And I was all of a sudden starting the bands as the Archdiocese was opening new schools. I started the band at Bishop Devitt. I started the band at Archbishop Wood. I started the band at Conwell Egan, or Conwell in those days, and then became Conwell Egan. And it was just an interesting time for me. But at one point, we were doing a show at the schools, and the choreographer, Gene Williams, who was in charge of the production numbers, said, "Joe, do you mind if I bring a friend of mine to see the dress rehearsal?" I said, "Sure." And I remember turning around and seeing the gentleman at the dress rehearsal sitting by himself. And afterwards, Gene Williams said, "I'd like you to meet Brother Gene Graham." "Oh, how are you, brother?" Next thing I know, Brother Gene says, "Would you like to conduct the next musical at La Salle High School?" Well, I jumped at that because that was my alma mater. And I started with Brother Gene. After a few years of conducting the shows, Brother Ed Gallagher says to me, would you like to take over the music program? Of course I would. And that was interesting because that's when I met Brother Tom McPhillips. He has a first teaching assignment at La Salle. He was teaching biology and the band moderator. And we started a relationship that lasted forever. He became a member of our family. But that year we started the band. We had 12 people playing in the pep band over at Springfield High School because Springfield always played La Salle in their opening games. A few years goes by, and the next thing we win a competition, National Catholic competition. Brother Tom then arranges for us to tour Europe. We toured the brother schools in Germany, Belgium, Austria. And of course, without Brother Tom, that wouldn't have happened because he did all the hard work, and I came in and waved my arms, and it really built the program. It went on, and at the same time, I am also doing my other job, and I'm now hiring musicians for the likes of Sondheim and Bernstein, Rogers, Hal Prince, all the big producers. Imagine dealing with Jack Warner of Warner Brothers and arguing with him about the cost of an hour's rehearsal. But that's what I was doing all at the same time. Towards the end of the 70s, La Salle became a real family for me. And I mean that literally. My son Joey started here, and he played in the band, so that meant 4 years, 5 days a week, I saw my son in school. And then my daughters, I had a slew of daughters, they all got involved with the concert band, the pep band, are in the shows. Kathy and Sandy and Marianne and Lex and Sammy. And Sammy and Marianne were also in the shows besides playing with the orchestras. Time goes on, my nephew comes, Gene comes to the South. Same thing, in the band, 4 years, 5 days a week, I see him. Then my grandsons, and I had Max, Joey the third, and Jason, same thing, 4 years, 5 days a week. That's a pretty fortunate thing. And of course, then I had a granddaughter that played with the pep band and was in the shows and played with the concert band. The one thing I remember, that she was the one that got the battle scars because at a pep band game, a cymbal fell on her head and she needed stitches. And imagine I had to call my daughter and say, by the way, Caitlin will be a little late getting home from band practice because we're at the hospital getting stitches. So we just continued having a family and working at night. And then, of course, my wife Janice joins the faculty as a part-time school nurse. A few years goes by, Brother Jim Rick, who was the vice principal, says to me, Joe, he said, I would like Janice to teach. You think she can teach? The health guy just left. I said, sure. Bad part was Brother Jim got to her before I did. And at dinner she says, what are you, crazy? She said, I never taught before. I said, I'll tell you what to do, don't worry. Well, after a few years of her teaching every kid in the school, I used to be Mr. C. I became Mr. Cheech, the husband of the school health teacher and nurse. So the family, we became a big part of La Salle, and La Salle became a big part of our family. This program is thriving, and that, of course, you need a good administration to have a program. And the administrators that have helped this program through the years, starting with Brother Ed Gallagher and Brother Andrew Bartley and Dave Deal and Joe Marchese and Mike O'Toole and Brother Richard and Brother Renee and Brother James, they just kept going on. And Brother Renee would have loved this course program that Mark Norman has presented. That was his idea, and he was always striving towards that. They all supported the arts like you wouldn't believe. That's why we have 11 music teachers here, and we have Mike Hearn in the art department, and Cornelia Heitzman in the art department, and we're handing off the baton to Chris Mealy, who's moving forward, and all the great teachers on our program. They make the program. La Salle has never had a problem attracting the most professional and best musicians in the area to teach here, and that's a big secret to our program. But Joe Vittori came on board about 30 years ago. Joe changed everything. He made La Salle the envy of all the competition bands in the Delaware Valley. Joe is the consummate musician. Joe plays, actually, I don't know how he put up with me. He would work with me all day and then sit next to me in the pits in Philadelphia doing the shows and whatever else. We toured with Barry Manilow. Then I was doing Stevie Wonder, all the Motown acts, and at the same time, La Salle is going on. And it's been just unbelievable for me to be able to do 2 careers and include everybody that I know and all the dear friends and colleagues I met at La Salle, like the Callisters and the Stanzaks. It's just been an unbelievable situation to do that and stand here to do you. That's why I say I've been very lucky. But the most important thing for me was the students, the thousands of boys, young men and young ladies that I had to deal with through the years, and met their families, and they all became friends, and I can watch them go, well, one is now my eye doctor, one is now my lawyer, you know, it goes, it just keeps going, and it's been wonderful. So, Dad, what did I have to lose? Everything. Live Jesus in our hearts.
Thank you for joining us today to celebrate the accomplishments of these 3 men who have had such an influence on the development and success of our fine arts department at La Salle College High School. St. John Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever. Please enjoy the La Salle College High School band playing our alma mater.